good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, August 1st. Like always, I'm your guy, Hector, hanging out with my compadre this morning. I got the one and only Grace Monroe, and all you Yankee fans, wake up and get your coffee. Grace, the Yankees have swept the Phillies. Grace, the New York Yankees have swept the Phillies. How you doing?
Dude, I cannot believe it. Like I'm so over the moon happy, obviously. I am not even gonna lie. I swear on everything good and holy that I literally teared up when DJ LeMahieu hit that grand slam. It was like the release that I didn't know that I needed from just the years of loving DJ and being so frustrated with his slump or whatever you want to call it this year.
Yes.
And when he hit that grand slam, not even gonna lie, I teared up a little bit because I was just so happy for him.
Oh, listen, Grace, you said it perfectly. DJ LeMahieu, La Máquina with the grand slam. When DJ LeMahieu was put into the lineup and the lineup came out, I saw a lot of Yankee fans on Twitter losing their minds saying, well, this is a punt lineup. No Austin Wells, no Ben Rice. DJ LeMahieu is in it. And look at it. DJ LeMahieu came through, right? Do I think DJ LeMahieu is going to return to the form that he was in 2019, 2020? No, absolutely not. But if DJ LeMahieu can be a platoon player with a Ben Rice and provide you this type of offense from the right-hand side of the plate when a lefty is on the mound, he's bringing you some type of value. So you can look at his age right now. You can look at the stats. You can look at what's on the back of the baseball card at the moment. But DJ LeMahieu can provide you something if he's able to be this type of platoon player coming off of the bench.
I mean, the grand slam, obviously, you can't overstate the importance of a grand slam. You can't overstate the importance of hitting with runners in scoring position when when the diamond is loaded with runners, okay? However, his second at bat that day, let's talk about that. He had 2 RBI double, right? 2 RBIs that he batted in as well. So, he had 2 huge at-bats that day. So, he just had a great day. I'm so happy for him. And, I mean, I hope that it brings him some confidence because even as a player coming off the bench, you still need that confidence, just to know that you've got something still in the tank. It's just huge. And, of course, the team was so happy for him.
No, 100%. And Yankee fans, we are happy because everything is right in the world. The New York Yankees, we are undefeated with Jazz Chisholm in the lineup. Shout out to Jazz Chisholm, bringing that pizzazz. If John Sterling was around, I know John Sterling would have been like Jazz with the pizzazz. So shout out to Jazz Chisholm. The impact, instant energy that you're seeing in that dugout. When Jazz Chisholm had his last home run, I think it was the second one of the game, giving the Yankees the lead, and he was celebrating at the plate. You saw Juan Soto doing his shuffle. Juan Soto was waiting for him to come, and when he got closer, Juan Soto did the thing. Yeah. Oh my God. Listen, Yankee fans, I know we just went through a 2-month spell that was hard. I mean, a month spell that was horrible, right? From June 13th until the end of July, I understand that it was a horrible time, but in 162 games, teams are going to go through their slumps. We're going to go through the whole trade deadline. We got a special guest. Our friend Keith McPherson will be joining us. He's just running a bit late right now. He just messaged me on X, but he will be joining us. It's going to be a good conversation. Damien is running late as well. He'll join us as well. Just want to shout out and do a roll call before we continue, Grace. So shout out to Alex Campos, my lovely girlfriend in the chat, who says, good morning. Welcome to the Yankees Morning Brew. We are excited for today's show with special guest Keith McPherson. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And please share this with whatever group chat, with whatever Yankee community you have on Facebook, on X. Let's get more Yankee fans in the conversation. Our friend Frederick is in the building. David Cohen is in the building. Big Time Lou is in the building. Good morning. Salute, salute, salute. My brother Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la isla, is in the building. Anthony, how you doing? Joey M is in the building. On Dios NYK, how you doing, baby? Truth always is in the building. Old Sarge is how you doing? Norman Soto, salute, salute, salute. We got our friend Rodney Green, the nosebleed section, big time Jerry, and I can't forget my guy Anthony D. Shout out to AD in the building. AD, how you doing? And of course, one of the legends on YouTube, my friend, good friend Ron from Still Nick Fans is in the building. He said, "What's good, everyone? Salute to the chat. Just stopping in, saying hello to Grace and to my brother Hector. Ron, I love you, appreciate you like always, and shout out to NES and of course Tina in the building." So let's get into the convo. I queued it up perfectly, talking about Jazz Chisholm, right? But let's talk about the trade deadline as a whole. And did Brian Cashman do enough, right? So I got this graphic right here. Keith McPherson put it out there, waiting for Keith to come to join us. But he says Clay Holmes is your closer, Gleyber Torres is your second baseman, DJ LeMahieu deserves to play. The trade deadline is over. We have McDonald's at home, but it doesn't look or taste like McDonald's. That is fine. And as a kid that grew up him, we got McDonald's at home, but it tastes like McDonald's. And that's what the New York Yankees have. We have a closer in Clay Holmes, we got a second baseman in Gleyber Torres, and we got a utility guy in DJ LeMahieu. That, yes, they're big leaguers, but they may not look like big leaguers. Grace, ultimately, what's your grade for Brian Cashman at the trade deadline?
That is a hysterical tweet. I just remember like on road trips as a kid, we would stop, to get gas on the road, and we would go into the gas station and we'd be like, "Mom, can I get this candy bar? Can I get this chips?" And my mom would always say, "We have snacks in the car," because she would like pack this igloo as we would be driving across the country, and the igloo would have like just like sandwich deli meat that was like suspect, and just like everything was warm at best. Like, that is hilarious. But let's just say, how can you not be satisfied, at least to some degree, when you see the way Jazz Chisholm has played the last 4 games? Yes. Like, how can you not? Like, are you not entertained? Like, you know, what did you expect? What did you want? Look at the other teams and the bats that they acquired, and tell me Jazz isn't performing better than every single other bat that had been acquired at the trade deadline. Jazz is outperforming every single one of them. Now, I know it's a small sample size right now. I get it. However, I wanted Tanner Scott. I've said it a million times. I wanted Tanner Scott. The price that they paid, the price the Padres paid to get Tanner Scott, the equivalent of that with the Yankees, even I wouldn't have done that deal. We made it through the trade deadline with Jason Dominguez still in the org. That's all I care about, honestly. Did we get better? Hector, did we get better?
On the surface level, we got better.
We got better.
Was it a home run? I don't think it was a home run that some Yankee fans, I know myself and you, we were calling for a home run. I don't think it was a home run. But when you look at it, Jazz Chisholm, he makes our infield better. He makes our defense better. He makes our lineup better. The versatility that he has, the speed that he has, automatically he becomes our best base stealer on the team. That's right there. It moves Volpe down a notch, and now Volpe could be the second best base stealer on our team, and that brings value, right? So when you can move Volpe from that role and take some pressure off of him, I think Jazz Chisholm would fit in perfectly, right? So from the lineup definitely better. Ever since Jazz Chisholm has been in the lineup, the New York Yankees are averaging 9 runs per game. That goes to show you that just adding somebody that has a little pop in Jazz Chisholm could go a long way. Also, there's other factors. Of course, Juan Soto and Aaron Judge are having amazing season. They're both competing for the MVP in the American League. But you also got to give credit to Austin Wells. Austin Wells is having a phenomenal rookie season, and he's in it. Grace, we was on a Twitter space, and you brought it up, how Austin Wells is in that conversation for Rookie of the Year. So not only do the Yankees have a team where Aaron Judge is homegrown, Anthony Volpe is homegrown, Austin Wells is homegrown. We got 3 out of our 9 hitters in our lineup, homegrown talent. When you look at our starting rotation, we finally developed a young starting pitcher that, if he's healthy, knock on wood, he could be an ace in Luis Hill. Look at the bullpen. Look at these random guys that Matt Blake have been able to turn into viable options coming out of the bullpen. Luke Weaver has been amazing, right? Tonkin has been amazing. Hale has been awesome. These are all guys that none of us in spring training would have said on August 1st are big-time players coming out of that bullpen. Yes, we have our love-hate relationship with Clay Holmes. I understand that. I want to bring up this graphic. We have our love-hate relationship with Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes on the season, if you were to look at his stats, take away everything that we see visually from Clay Holmes. Look at his stats. He has a 2.82 ERA. He has 22 saves. Yes, he has 7 or 6 blown saves leading the American League. That's a horrible number. But when you look at the surface level, Clay Holmes, he's a decent closer. Is he the best closer that we can have? Absolutely not. Is he a top 5 closer in baseball? Probably not. Is he a top 10 closer? He's probably in that conversation for being a top 10 closer. So was it a home run for our team? No. Did we get better incrementally? Absolutely.
Overall, if I had to grade the trade deadline, and I've calmed down quite a bit because, I'm an emotional Yankees fan, just like all of us. I overreact for sure. I'm entitled. I want everything. I'm a Yankees fan, But now that I've calmed down, I want to say I'm going to give the trade deadline like a B minus C plus. And considering the trade market and the crazy inflated value that the Marlins were able to get and the Rays were able to get and these sellers that were able to get so much. And considering that we didn't give up that much, I really want to say it's like a B minus.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, and only time will tell, right? We kind of have to wait to see how it shakes out to really grade the trade deadline. But as of now, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
If we go win the World Series and Jazz is the World Series MVP or something, it's gonna be an A. You know what I mean?
I'm happy. I'm gonna be dancing in the streets. I'll be dancing in the streets of the USA if we win a World Series and Jazz Chisholm is the MVP. I want to shout out Richie Squires real quick with the $10 super chat, helping us keep the lights on over here at Morning Brew Sports. Definitely appreciate you, Rich. Also, if anybody wants to help us out when it comes to super chats, when it comes to coffees, you guys can go to buymeacoffee.com/morningbrewsports. It helps us out when it comes to getting better graphics, getting new microphones. We definitely appreciate all of you guys. But Richie Squires says, Hector, the problem with this trade deadline was clubs were asking for Mercedes-Benz prices for Walmart products. And that's an absolute fact. When you look at the trade market, and I'm gonna leave this up on the screen as we talk. When you look at the trade market, it was a seller's market. It was not a buyer's market. Teams that traded players away, they came back and they won the trades, right? Yes, we got some teams getting better, but the Dodgers, they gave up out of their farm system to get Jack Flaherty. The Padres gave up a lot to get Tanner Scott, right? A lot of teams gave up high-end prospects in order to get back what they wanted. And when it comes to the Yankees, I just think that, one, Brian Cashman probably didn't feel comfortable, and two, apparently there was a deal on the table for Jack Flaherty, right? And the rumor was Spencer Jones was going to be in it. The Yankees got back the medicals from Jack Flaherty, and they didn't like how his back look, his lower back looked. And we already have a guy in Carlos Rodon who is dealing with back issues. I think it's an absolute failure to bring in another starting pitcher that's going to give you back issues down the line at some point in this season. I just think that the Yankees, they just viewed his medicals and they felt that they just didn't want to take the risk. And as a fan, I could take my hat off to them and say, I appreciate that.
Yeah, Clark Schmidt now has isn't he suffering from a lat strain? That's another back thing we got going on. So, we say on one hand, I'm speaking for Yankees fans now. On one hand, we're like, the medical department never does its due diligence. And then when they do their due diligence and they don't get a guy with what they deem to be an issue, right? Then we're mad at them for that. So it's like, come on, y'all. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. You know what I mean? So we got to just trust that the medical staff knows about more than we do, and the Dodgers were willing to take a risk that the Yankees weren't willing to take at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
So if they had traded Spencer Jones and gotten Tanner Scott, and then he went out with a back, no, not Tanner Scott, Jack Flaherty, and he went out with a back problem, everyone would be losing their minds.
Yeah,
You know?
especially if Spencer Jones turns into a solid major league player over there in Detroit, right? When you look up what the Dodgers gave up, and Cohen put it in the chat, they gave up Trey Sweeney and they gave up Tyrone Lorenzo. Trey Sweeney was in their top 10 when it comes to prospects, and Lorenzo, I think, was in their top 15 or top 20 when it comes to prospect. So the Tigers were asking for one of our top 2 prospects. They didn't get our top 2 prospect, so they pivoted and got a top 10 and a top 15 prospect back. So they were asking more from us. The Yankees didn't want to trade, and they settled for less. How is that our fault? How is that Brian Cashman's fault? That's the one thing I don't understand.
Yeah, and let me say something else. You know, Ken Rosenthal is the one who broke the story that it was the medicals that kept the Yankees from making the deal. But then when Brian Cashman went on WFAN and they asked him about it, he said, we were in the talks right up until the last minute and they decided to go with the Dodgers. So reading between the lines of these two different reports, I think what happened was, you know, they looked at the medicals and they said, yo, we're not that happy with these medicals, so you need to bring the price down. And the Tigers said, nah, we're not doing that. So, and the Dodgers were like, we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger. So it was not as black and white, right, as maybe some people are trying to paint it. Brian Cashman was still willing to make the trade. Even though the medicals were giving them some red flags, they just said, look, we got some red flags. We need you to come down on the value just a little bit. And they wouldn't do it because the Dodgers were willing to go there. So that's, I think that's what happened. So then we have even less ground to stand on to be angry at Brian Cashman for not getting Flaherty. Because not only was he having trepidation, he still was in the conversation. So I don't know.
Yeah. No. 100% right, and I'm glad you brought up the WFAN conversation that Brian Cashman had, and Uncle Grandpa Tats in the chat says, "Thank you, Grace. I thought I was the only one to listen to what he said on WFAN." And credit to Brian Cashman going into the Lions Den at WFAN to have that conversation with BT and Sal Licata. Brandon Tierney is somebody that I've been listening to on the radio. I want to say dating back to when I was in high school. I'm a big fan of BT. I had the pleasure of meeting BT in studio, him and Tiki Barber, when they had a show together. Me and Celso went up to the station at WFAN, and it was an awesome time meeting BT. It was one of my lifelong dreams as a child, and a little kid in me was excited. Brandon Tierney, he is very critical when it comes to the Yankees and when it comes to Brian Cashman. So credit to Brian Cashman, who went into the Lions Den and had that conversation with BT and with Sal Licata. If you guys haven't heard that conversation, I implore you, go. It's probably just like a 3 or 5 minute phone call. He called into the station. It's a great listen. Make sure you guys go and listen so you can get the inside thought, because he knows, he hears the outside noise. Brian Cashman, he doesn't turn off the sound when it comes to the fan base or when it comes to what they're saying on sports radio. He may not listen all the time, but if you guys don't think that Brian Cashman, he has assistants who are giving him, listen, this is what the fans are saying on Twitter. Listen, this is what the guys are saying on the radio. That right there, that is happening. Right. In the Knicks universe, we know firsthand from doing our show, Knicks Morning Brew, we know that Leon Rose, the president of the New York Knicks, at the beginning of his day, his assistant hands him what they're saying on Twitter. His assistant hands him what the fans are saying on social media. So if Leon Rose does that with the New York Knicks, I'm supposed to believe that Brian Cashman doesn't do that with the New York Yankees. Yeah, I got a bridge to sell you if that's the case then.
Oh, yeah. And I think another really important point that came out of that interview on WFAN was that they asked him, you know, regarding the luxury tax, you know, and the price tag that some acquisitions may have added to your roster. Was that a factor? And Brian Cashman categorically said, no. He categorically said, Hal told me, anybody, bring him in front of me. Hal gave him the green light to bring any player with any price tag in front of him to then make the team better. And so this is what I've been saying all year. Even though Hal said at the beginning of the year, right? Oh, well, we can't sustain this, blah, blah, blah. Y'all, they have to say stuff like that. But actions speak louder than words. Hal made a huge offer to Yamamoto. Hal made a huge offer to Aaron Judge. Hal's gonna make a huge offer to Juan Soto. Actions speak louder than words. So I think that Hal wants to win. I think that Cashman wants to win, although I believe Cashman is less emotional than Hal. That's just my sense. I don't know that for certain. Obviously, it's just my sense on things. But they went all in by getting Juan Soto this year, by sending a huge trade package and acquiring Juan Soto in the offseason. They're already all in, and they keep making the team better. Is it as much as we want for the Yankees fans? Like, it's never going to be enough for us. It's never going to be enough. We're never going to be happy until we have that ship, you know? So I'm trying to calm myself down and just say the team is better. The energy is better. The lineup is better. The defense is better. The bullpen is better. So we gotta roll. We gotta rock with what we got.
Yeah,
You know what
absolutely. I mean? And I think as Yankee fans, and I said this on a space, I was on a Twitter space. Shout out to our good friend Michael Caputo, who's killing it on Yankees X, and he's in a bunch of Twitter spaces having a good time. But I was in a Twitter space after the trade deadline, and my guy Michael Caputo was going off. If it was on the radio and it needed to be bleeped out, you would have never heard a word from Caputo, because you would have constantly just heard bleep, 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 bleep. So shout out to Caputo. But the one thing I asked Caputo, and I told Caputo, I was like, Caputo, I understand your frustration, right? The Yankees didn't have the trade deadline that you wanted the Yankees to have. But me as a fan, you know what I'm going to still do, Grace? I'm still going to watch this team.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna go to the games that I go to. I'm still gonna interact with the fans. I'm still gonna interact with the players when I go to different autograph signings. And speaking of players, make sure you guys go to Woodbridge August 5th. There's going to be a lot of Yankees there. Clark Smith is going to be there. Matter of fact, give me a second. Let me give you the actual list of who's going to be there, because there's a bunch of Yankees that are going to be there. Give me 1 second. I'm looking up the Woodbridge right now. So it's the Woodbridge Yankees Summer Bash, and this is the names of the Yankees that are going to be there. Clark Smith is going to be there, like I said. Jose Trevino, Luke Weaver, Oswaldo Cabrera, and Tommy Kahnle. They are going to be there, and it's August 5th. It is a Q&A that is hosted by Jack Curry. So if you guys want to go, and if you guys are in the tri-state area, just look up Woodbridge Brewing Company on Instagram, so you can click the link in the bio. Alex will be putting the link to their Instagram in the chat, so you guys can go and purchase a ticket if you guys want to show up. They do amazing events at Woodbridge. They actually bring the players out for the fans. It's an awesome time. I definitely want to see you guys there if you guys can be there. But I want to bring up some chats real quick as we continue, and also smack the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got over 100 people watching us right now. Click the link in the bio. Jump on over to YouTube. We got 60 people on YouTube. Smack the like button. My guy Ghost, Forever Ghost, man, Mono in the chat. This is the guy I do spaces with on X. He said smart moves, not desperate moves. And I think that's an absolute fact. Most Yankee fans at the trade deadline, they were screaming for the Yankees to get this player. They were screaming for the Yankees to get that player. The one thing that I didn't want the Yankees to do was to make a desperate move for a player that is over his peak or is overperforming, and we give up top prospects. Like I said, in the Jack Flaherty trade, the Tigers wanted back Spencer Jones, who's one of the Yankees' top 2 prospects. And then you see the return that they got. They got Trey Sweeney, who's their top 10 prospect, and a kid who's in their top 15. So they wanted from us one of our top 2 prospects, but they settled for 2 top 15 prospects. How am I going to get mad at Brian Cashman for not getting fleeced by the Detroit Tigers? I get it. It's not the sexy moves, right? A lot of fans are upset about Mark Leiter Jr. They said it's the wrong Leiter. You should have brought in Jack Leiter from Texas. Listen, calm down. That kid, he has some growing pains before he becomes the pitcher that we all think.
Got shelled.
We all think he's going to be. But we got Keith backstage. He just jumped on backstage. Again, appreciate everybody that's in the chat. If you guys have any specific questions for our good friend Keith, just drop it in the chat. Keith's going to rock out with us for about I want to say 20, 30 minutes. Keith, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to rock out, bro. All right, my guy Keith. Let me bring him in right now. The fly guy from WFAN, Keith McPherson. Keith, how you doing, bro?
Yo, what up? First off, my apologies. The Zelle that you were supposed to send for my appearance never hit my account, so I'm late. Uh, I'm in a new setup. Like, bro, shout out to everybody that watches. I've been on here a couple times, and you guys usually see my home studio. I moved. I don't have that studio anymore, and getting set up down here and this, like, it took a minute, man. So, my apologies for being late, but thanks for having me.
Nah, all good, bro. Appreciate you making time. I know you're moving right now, and you're moving with the wife. You got the young one with you, so I know it's a big hectic right now. So definitely appreciate you making time to join us. I know me and Grace looking forward to this conversation. But the trade deadline, it came, it went. I was listening to you last night. I don't want to repeat any of the takes that you had, but for the people that are in the chat, let's get your thought real quick. Break down the trade deadline. Let's get your grade, and ultimately how you feeling about Brian Cashman.
Yeah, it was underwhelming. If you listen to me on WFAN, I've been saying these two things, right? Stack the deck. I've been saying that since last year when they did nothing at the trade deadline. I just don't understand how you have Aaron Judge and you don't put talent around him all around. Like when you have the best player in the game, how do you not make sure there are no holes around him so he can be the best that he can be when the opportunity presents itself, whatever. So they did not stack the deck. I have a video that I put out of me and Brian Cashman in the stadium months ago where I'm like, yo, if this is the team, stack the deck, like get greedy, like, don't leave a stone unturned, man, stack the deck, get more than you feel like you need. It didn't happen. The other thing I've been saying is after Fire Cashman night, after all the Fire Cashman t-shirts, like his seat has never been hotter. Fans want him gone. Fans are willing to bring on anybody else, an unknown GM. And I've been saying this was supposed to be his magnum opus because in the GM meetings out in Arizona this past winter, he's pointing the finger at reporters. He's telling them, oh, well, the Joey Gallo deal was this and Sonny Gray and blah, 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 blah. And don't you know we have the third smallest analytics department and Giancarlo Stanton getting hurt is part of his game. Like he had a line for everything that he did. He had an excuse for every move that he made that people weren't even asking him. Like, nobody even asked you about Sonny Gray, B. What are you talking about? So, like, what I was saying after the deadline is, listen, right now, Major League Baseball is looking at Jazz Chisholm as the biggest move of the deadline because it was an immediate impact. So I tip my cap to Cashman, not falling into the, his personality's not going to mesh in the clubhouse, and actually going for it and getting a guy that immediately he made history. 4 home runs in his first 4 games. This is a guy that played third base for the first time. This is a guy that when you first saw him pull up at like 6 o'clock before Sunday Night Baseball, old goofy Yankee fans were talking about, I don't like his backwards hat. Oh, his chain is too much. Why does he wear a green belt and purple accents? Man, shut up. We're winning now. They haven't lost a game since it was announced that Jazz Chisholm is a New York Yankee. So that is it. That is it. And then obviously you get 2 bullpen arms. Mark Leiter's another one who showed up in the 3rd inning of the game on Tuesday night, immediate impact. And then we'll see what Enyel De Los Santos looks like during this 9-game homestand.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you laid it out perfectly. When you look at Jazz Chisholm and you look at that sector of Yankee fans that I like to call them that were upset about Jazz Chisholm and how he carries himself, first of all, if you're an elder and you've never watched The Fairly Odd Parents, you could tell me you've never watched The Fairly Odd Parents, because the reason why Jazz Chisholm belt is green is because Jazz Chisholm grew up liking The Fairly Odd Parents and he liked Cosmo from The Fairly Odd Parents. That's why he has a green belt. So leave Jazz Chisholm and his green belt alone. But no, instant energy in the lineup, instant energy in the dugout. Grace, go ahead. I'll toss it over to you.
I didn't know that about The Fairly Odd Parents. That's hilarious and awesome. Jazz Chisholm brought not only talent but intangibles. I mean, that is a home run acquisition. I know it's a small sample size so far, but the intangibles are so hard to quantify. And they knocked it out of the park so far. So I'm really loving everything that I'm seeing from Jazz Chisholm. I can't wait for him to make his Yankee Stadium debut. It's going to be awesome. I saw an interview with him where they asked him, where Curtis Granderson actually asked him, have you thought about what you're going to do for roll call? And he goes, oh man, I totally forgot about that. Nobody even said anything to me about it yet. I'm going to work on it tonight. So I'm really looking forward to, as silly as it may be, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do after the roll call tonight. And just once he gets under those Bronx lights with the stadium crowd and everything, especially joining during the stretch and a postseason push, he is going to show up big time. I think so. I'm really excited.
I would say right now, I know John Sterling is retired, and I know, Keith, you have a good relationship with him. But if the Yankees, if they don't read the room, this is the perfect moment for the Yankees to read the room. With the Yankee fans excited with Jazz Chisholm, they need to have John Sterling on standby. He needs to zoom in or call in wherever he's from. So when Jazz Chisholm hits his first home run at Yankee Stadium, he could give the home run call, Jazz with the pizzazz, so Yankee fans could get that excitement. What's your thoughts on that, Keith?
All that jazz. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I can't let off everything I know, but I do have a good relationship with John. Stay tuned. We will get something from John as far as a Jazz Chisholm home run call or what he thinks in the next a couple weeks coming up here in this month of August. Yeah.
All right, cool. That's cool. I want to bring up this super chat from our good friend Uncle Tats at the Pinstripe Chronicles. He says, Keith, with the $9.99 super chat, Uncle Tats, thank you for helping us keep the lights on. You are helping my anime addiction right now. But he says, Keith, appreciate you being a real fan. Do you see Mark Leiter being moved to the closer role as he's adjusted to his new environment? And I saw you put in the chat, I'll let Jazz close. I'm not going to hold you. What's your thoughts on the question, bro?
Yo, I was saying last night, like, listen, I get that Judge came out there and said, that's our guy. That's our closer. We got faith in him. I get that Cashman came out there and said, I'm a big Clay Holmes fan. He's a good guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He seems quiet as kept. But my whole take the last couple of days was, if you plan on winning games in October, you can't sell me on Clay Holmes as my closer. He leads the league in blown saves. I get that he was an all-star based off what he did early in the season when everything was going great. But when it got hectic for the Yankees, when it got thick, when things got crazy, when it was like, yo, we need to lock this down. We have a 1-run, 2-run lead. He's blown the save so many times, bro. That Royals game, it's like, man, we're about to sweep the Royals. He can't get it done. The Masataka Yoshida home run on a Friday night in the boogie down. Come on. The Orioles game, you're this close to sweeping them and being in first place. Yeah, I know Volpe should have made the play and Verdugo fell down, but he walked 2 batters. I can't have a closer that walks guys. I can't have a closer that throws wild pitches that could hit Heston Kjerstad in the head or go at Kyle Schwarber's feet. I need a guy that's going in there throwing strikes. And when you have a defense behind him that's shaky, with Gleyber Torres, who also leads the league in errors at his position, DJ LeMahieu, who's 36, falling down at first base, Jazz Chisholm, who's played 3 games at third base. Like, what are we doing? Like, make it make sense. I need a better option in that 9th inning, and I don't understand why it can't be closer by committee. I understand they added the light show and the entrance for Clay. I understand everybody likes the guy, but like, for Cashman to say he's a fan of Clay, Yankee fans aren't fans of Clay. Nobody bought that all-star jersey. Like, come on, yo, do better. We can do better. We can do better.
Yeah. Shout out to the folks at Woodbridge. I just shouted out the event that they have, the Yankee Bash, going on August 5th. Clay Holmes is going to be there August 28th. So if some of you Yankee fans, if you guys feeling froggy, then leave. Clay Holmes is going to be at Woodbridge. So if you got something to get off your chest, I would say go over to Clay Holmes. Let him know how you feel. If you feel it,
he
frisky.
better be on his job before that. Like, he got the save yesterday. He better have nothing but clean innings and saves before that public appearance, because I know how people get. I know how people are. They will say it to him. They'll be like, yo, you're not our closer. You're not my closer.
Yeah. Grace, I'll toss it over to you, but I just want to bring up Clay Holmes. He has 8 blown saves on the season. The Yankees were just a half game behind the Baltimore Orioles. If he just would have just blown 4 instead of 8, we would have a nice little lead, comfortable lead in the division, even with all the struggles we went through in June. And this is the thing I want Yankee fans to understand. Shout out to my good friend Erica in the chat, but she brings it up and I like to repeat it. 162 games, it's a marathon for a reason. It's a given that you're going to lose 60 and you're going to win 60. It's just the next 42 games that determine if you're at home for the postseason or if you're going to Disney World after you win the World Series. Go ahead, Grace.
I want to say that the Orioles have a 4-game series coming up with the Guardians this week, and they're finna catch us too on our wins-loss column. So they're going to even up with us, so they're not going to have played less games than us after this week. And also, they're facing the Guardians, whereas we're facing the Blue Jays. So I feel like this week, tables are going to turn, so I'm really excited about that. But on a side note, Keith, I want to ask you a question. Because... If you watch Yankees Morning Brew, it's been well documented, and everybody in the chat can back me up. I have had some personal, emotional trials with Gleyber Torres. And when the trade deadline, whatever, came and went, and Gleyber Torres was still on the team, I think I tweeted something like, RIP me, check on your girl. Like, I was not okay. And then I was like, okay, hold on. I need to calm down. Because if this is the team that I have to rock with, then this is the team I'm going to rock with, because I'm Yankees diehard no matter what. And I know I have a Texas accent, but don't let that fool you. So I want to know a serious question. Okay, I'm not trying to hate on Boone right now, but I'm really trying to bring up a serious question and get your thoughts. Why are we late inning defensive replacing Ben Rice instead of Gleyber Torres? He is the one that has been traditionally the biggest liability on defense in our infield, on our entire team, and throughout the entire league since 2018. Why aren't they defensive replacing him? What is going on? I want to hear your opinion on this.
Yo, they love Gleyber. Glaby, that's their guy. GT, like they don't see him like we see him. They excuse the errors. They excuse him falling asleep at the wheel. They think that he's like that, so much so they weren't willing to trade him at the deadline for a prospect. I'm like, send me an 18-year-old pitcher. I'm fine with that. The same way you sent Joey Gallo away for Clayton Beater. Fine, I'll wash my hands of the guy. Because he is friends with Juan Soto. He is friends with Aaron Judge. He has been here and come up the ranks in the past few years. But, man, it is exhausting watching him mess up late in games. It's crazy that he even had the audacity to say, I'm a second baseman. Like, nah, bro. Like, there's a better way to go about that. You're a New York Yankee. You're way too entitled. I get it that, like, people ran with the quote. But if they're asking you to potentially change positions, you got to do what to do to stay on the team, to stay on the field. You've been benched multiple times this year. When you're asking about why the defensive replacement is DJ, first off, start with that. Why are we putting DJ into games? Why are we adding DJ like into the mix late in games to give DJ at bats? Granted, DJ came through yesterday, career high 6 RBI. A broken clock is right at least 2 times a day. And I haven't seen the guy hit a grand slam, drive a ball into the gap like he did yesterday. He won the game for us yesterday. Great. Some ROI there with DJ. But, like, why is he replacing Ben Rice? Ben Rice has been clutch. Ben Rice is young. He's got the power swing. They don't trust him. He's a catcher turned first baseman. They look at him as a liability. DJ's a guy that's a veteran that has done it for years. But like I said, man, we seen him fall down. And Gleyber luckily was there to save the day and make that play. But, man, DJ's 36. I don't think that's an upgrade. I think he'd be better off at second base, where I believe he won a Gold Glove. But they're not taking Gleyber out of the game late because they expect Gleyber to be clutch. And we have seen Gleyber be clutch in late game situations. He has walked it off for us. He did drive in the winning run Tuesday night Tuesday night. So that's pretty much the long and short of it.
Hey, do you think because as soon as the Jazz Chisholm news was announced, it felt like everybody got that Amber Alert on their cell phone in Yankees locker room, like they needed to step up their game? Because as soon as the Jazz Chisholm news came, Alex Verdugo started hitting, Gleyber Torres started hitting, now DJ LeMahieu is hitting grand slam. It's like everybody who felt that their job was secure and not threatened, now all of a sudden they feel threatened, like their job could be taken away. And maybe that's something that was needed in the Yankees dugout. You said it a lot. Competition, it breeds the best, or it gets the best out of athletes. You're a former athlete, you're a former quarterback as well, you know, firsthand basis. If you're comfortable with doing your job, if I'm a horrible manager at an Applebee's, right, and if my job is not threatened, I'm gonna still keep on being a horrible manager. It's not until I see another employee that can take my job that I'm like, whoa, maybe I should start doing different. Maybe I should start cleaning the ketchup packages off a little bit differently.
Hell yeah. Like when I played quarterback in college, my first year as a freshman, I think I was 4th string, made it to 3rd string. My sophomore year, and then I see they're recruiting quarterbacks, and I'm like, wait, you're about to bring in more quarterbacks? I'm already 3rd on the depth chart. It gives you a heightened awareness of like, yo, you're not safe. It's not a guarantee that you will be out there. Somebody is coming to take your spot. There's always somebody working to come take your spot. Don't get comfortable. And I really do believe as soon as Jazz Chisholm got like that alert, everybody got the alert. I was moving that day. I was off social media. I was offline. My boy Caesar is a Marlins fan down in Miami. He texted me like, y'all got Jazz. He's overrated, but I bet he turns up playing for y'all. I'm like, oh, the deal got done. It went through. I said, if I was a gambling man, I would have put some. I am a gambling man, but I stopped betting on the Yankees. But if I was betting on the Yankees, because, you know, they lost so much, I stopped betting on them. But if I was betting on the Yankees, I would have started betting on the Yankees. Like, yo, Jazz Chisholm the homer, Judge the homer, because it injected life into the team as well as making these guys realize, like, man, that night, Trent Grisham came through big. Gleyber Torres came through big. What positions do they play? Center field and second base. What position does Jazz play, or has he played this year? Center field and second base. So it put those guys on alert, like, yo, let's go. It's time to get it, because it's not guaranteed that you will be starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I got a couple super chats I want to bring up real quick, Grace, and I'll throw it over to you. Double A with the 199. He says, keep Cashman away from the Soto negotiations. I think Soto has Brian Cashman blocked on every app that's out there. Double A again with the 199. Jazz brings the island with him. Yeah, and one thing about Jazz Chisholm, and hopefully Yankee fans, you guys could look into his backstory and where he's from. He's from the Bahamas. He was taught baseball by his grandmother, who was a shortstop for the Bahamas national softball team. So he has that in his blood when it comes to playing baseball and when it comes to being from the islands. Listen, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm from the Caribbean. That thing is bred out there. It's either you have it or you don't have it. And I think Jazz Chisholm is one of those guys that he has that. It's like having that 6 or 7 tool. I think Jazz Chisholm is just special. Go ahead, Grace.
When Jazz was first acquired, there was a lot of chatter about him maybe possibly sliding into the leadoff spot. I actually have been enjoying him hitting in the middle of the order, especially now that Verdugo has kind of come back around. I'm not sure what his on-base percentage is, Jazz's. But what are your thoughts, Keith, about him possibly batting leadoff, or do you like him in the middle? Like, where would you put Jazz?
Oh, I immediately thought that they got him to lead off. When I was talking to my homie Caesar, the things that I spit out, I'm like, oh, bet he can lead off. He could play second. He could play in the outfield. He can steal bases. This gives us athleticism. But then I realized, like, what's the real issue? The real issue is once you get past Soto and Judge, it starts to get shaky down there in the bottom of the order. You get Stanton back. That changes the middle of the order. Verdugo has started hitting. Verdugo just got to smell the coffee in Beantown. He's just got to go back to Fenway and something comes out in this guy. Verdugo started hitting. That's why I was a little mad yesterday. I'm like, man, what the hell? Why are you batting Gleyber leadoff? Keep Verdugo there until he falls off. But yeah, Jazz could potentially be a leadoff option, but I like him in the lower part of the lineup, especially with the pop that he has, especially with Volpe down there too. It's worked so far. If it's working, don't change it. I want them to get to the point where they have a consistent lineup again, like they did in the beginning of the year, because consistency is key. Once we can get everybody in the same spots, know who's batting before you and after you, exchange information, make pitchers pitch to these guys, I think we're going to see them continue. They're already doing it. They're scoring runs. Like they're scoring over 6-7 runs a game now. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think they brought it up on the game yesterday. 9.5 runs ever since Jazz Chisholm, that first game he was inserted into the lineup. So that goes to
That's
show
what
you
they're
that
averaging.
he's bringing something. You talked about the middle of the lineup, and we got a player that I think we should bring up and highlight and give him his flowers. Austin Wells. I know he got up to a slow start at the beginning of the season, but Max Goodman, shout out to Max Goodman on Twitter, he put it out there since April 24th, entering into yesterday's game. Austin Wells, 50 games, a 277 batting average, a 858 on OPS, 143 WRC plus. He has 8 home runs, 12 RBIs. Austin Wells, he is in the competition for Rookie of the Year, and he has turned himself into a solid Major League ball player. What are your thoughts when it comes to Austin Wells? And do you think this is something that he can sustain not only for this season, but before his career?
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. And when Trevino pulled his quad or whatever coming home, I'm like, at first I'm like, damn, Trevy's my guy. He's a good dude. He's a platinum glove catcher, a former all-star. But him getting hurt, it's like, hey, sink or swim, fight or flight, young man. Like Austin Wells, this is your rookie year. You're going to be dependent on, and not just dependent on, like you have to bat cleanup behind Judge. And he's figured it out. He's thrived. He's had some big homers, some big hits, some big moments. And behind the plate, he's been great. His defense has been great. I trust him. I think that this guy has an opportunity to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year, but he probably won't win it unless he goes crazy. I'm happy with him, right? Because, when you look at what the Yankees did in this trade deadline, they traded Augustin Ramirez because they're like, hey, Austin Wells is here. This guy's not going anywhere. That makes our, next catcher in our farm system expendable, and that got the deal done for Jazz. So Austin Wells is also best friends with Anthony Volpe, the Chicken Parm boys. It's just good for the chemistry. I know the guys love him. I know Stroman loves him. He's been solid for us this year. I trust him. There was a point in time where Yankee fans, after that Red Sox debacle when Stroman was on the mound, I think Trevino was catching, and they stole 9 runs on us. There was a point where Yankee fans were like, now we need a catcher at the deadline. No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yeah. No, and shout out to Austin Wells. He's a quarter Dominican, so shout out to the Puerto Rican that's out there.
He wears the do-rag. He wears the Nueva York do-rag when he catches Stroman.
So dope.
Go ahead.
Love him. I'm so happy for him. And I was happy for Narvaez yesterday, who got his little hit. And even though he got stranded on the base path, that's okay. I was really happy for him. And when they brought Will Warren in, and he had to come into a kind of an unknown environment, but he knew Austin Wells, he knew Narvaez, and he was able to say, hey guys, a lot of young kids on the team. I really love that. But I want to also bring up my other man, Giancarlo Stanton. Can we please talk about the fact that this man hit a 120-mile-an-hour single yesterday? He's looking good, y'all. And everybody was like, give him time. And I'm not saying don't give him time, but he's looking good. I wanted to say, everybody, all the Stanton haters are choking yesterday.
They're quiet.
Yeah, they are real quiet, because this guy who is so important to our team, and it has been well documented, his success and his contributions to the team in the postseason, but having him back now is huge. Going into a softer August schedule with Giancarlo Stanton able to get those at-bats and those reps under his belt, getting back in the swing of things when he's already doing so well, I am so excited. What do you think is going to happen with Jason Dominguez? Is he getting called up late, like September call-ups? Does he? Okay. Because Verdugo's hitting, or just in general?
He's injury prone. They're going to use kid gloves with him. They're going to take their time with him. Just try and forget what you saw at the end of last year from Dominguez. It was great. I was at one of those games. I saw him smoke a home run. I think it was his 4th home run. The kid can play at the major league level, but the Yankees aren't going to rush him back unless there's an injury. The Yankees aren't going to rush him back unless he's just down there hitting bombs every day, where it's like, yo, you got to send him. So if somebody gets hurt, and I don't want to speak it into existence, I'm not going to say any names, then embrace the Martian. They will send him up. Now back to Giancarlo Stanton. Everybody's saying give him time because historically he needs time to get his rhythm back, his swing back. But like you said, he smacked one yesterday as far as exit velocity. I guarantee you this homestand, he's going to hit one off the Poland Spring sign or to the Fresh Direct Terrace. Like, he'll be hitting the ball out of the ballpark in Yankee Stadium coming up with this 9-game homestand. My hope is that it doesn't take him 2-3 weeks to get going, because there is no time to wait. Like, we need him right now. And you know what? Even as you watched, Zach Wheeler and you watched Sanchez, like, they got to respect him, right?
Yeah.
They have to. He's still Giancarlo Stanton. Like, they have to respect him. They can't just throw him fastballs down the middle of the plate, and that extends the lineup. That's great to just have him back. And I mean, they're paying him, so you got to get a return on investment.
Yeah. Keith, got like 5 or 10 more minutes before we let you go. Again, thank you for taking time and rocking out with us this morning. When it comes to Stanton, the one thing that I bring up is when people see how much he's getting paid and they look at the stats that's on paper in front of them. Yes, what Giancarlo Stanton AAV is right now, it doesn't warrant the stats that he's given, if I'm saying that correctly. What he's getting paid doesn't back up the stats that his production is giving you, right? I understand Giancarlo Stanton is not the MVP version of that he was with the Miami Marlins, but for what you're getting out of Giancarlo Stanton from the DH spot, you cannot just say that's nothing, because having a guy that could give you 18, 19, 20 home runs that he has like around that range right now could potentially give you 30 home runs for a season. Even when he misses months at a time, that brings value to your lineup. That makes your lineup lengthy. The one issue that I have is that he clogs up the DH spot. And I would like to make that DH spot as a rotation, and you rotate it, you keep people fresh. You can have Judge DH a couple of days, Soto DH a couple of days. That's my only issue with Giancarlo Stanton, is that he clogs up the DH spot. But the production we're getting out of Stanton, yes, it's not MVP version. It's not MVP Stanton. It's not $35 million. But for what he's giving you, it is something. That's the one thing I want to give him some credit for.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I mean, you saw he didn't play back-to-back days. They sat him in the second game. They're going to stick with what they did earlier in the season, where Judge was DHing, because that helps Stanton get a rest day, and it also helps Judge not have to be running around in center field all the time. And the last thing about Stanton is we just got to get to October. He's postseason proven. This is a guy that when October comes, we know he's going to be there. I expect him to have a big home run in every series. I expect him to have tough at-bats, make pitchers work. Hopefully he's not chasing, sliders away or whatever. But, yeah, we got to get to October, and he's going to be there for us.
Yeah, he's so important. The batting from the right side with the postseason record that he has. When they were talking just the other day on the broadcast about how whoever we face in the postseason is most certainly going to throw us lefty starters, because our team has struggled to hit lefty starters this year. We're it's almost like we overcorrected by getting so many lefties. But I'm not complaining about that. But we're probably going to see a lot of lefty starters in the postseason. Who does Giancarlo hit the best? Lefty starters.
Lefties.
He is so important, and it's just so great that we have him back. I just pray that he stays healthy and that we can still have him slotted in there for the postseason. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. Last question, right? Because again, I know we talked about Cashman earlier, and I know some Yankee fans are upset when it comes to Cashman. They like you said, they want to replace him with someone that's a no-name, somebody who's never done it before. But the one thing that I like to point out to Yankee fans, yes, us as fans, all we care about is championships, right? We love to bring up the 27 championships. We love to harp on how many championships the New York Yankees have. Look, Grace has them all on her jacket right now as we speak. I understand that, but we got to understand that baseball is a two-sided coin. One side, it's a fandom. You want to win championships. You want to do everything for your fans. But the opposite side of it, it's a business at the end of the day. And when you look at what the New York Yankees have turned into ever since 1998, when Brian Cashman became the GM or president, whatever label you want to give him. In 1998, the New York Yankees was worth a little under $500 million. And $500 million. In 2024, the New York Yankees are worth $8 billion at the moment. To us fans, we don't care about that. I know I don't care about that. I know Keith and Grace, they probably don't care about that. But to the shareholders and to the people that write the checks and to the people that buy the stocks and the people that buy the corporate ads at Yankee Stadium, they care about that. And that's the reason that Brian Cashman, he has a lifelong contract with the Yankees. If there's one thing that his country does, is nepotism. And Brian Cashman's daughter, shout out to her, she has a whole series on the Yes app. The Cashmans aren't going anywhere. Yankee
Shout out
fans,
to
just
Gracie.
know that. Shout out to
She has
Gracie
a-
Cashman.
she
I
has a
follow her
great
on
name.
Instagram. Yeah, no shade. She's actually put out good content. I
Yo,
do follow
Gracie,
her.
I haven't met her yet, but we have some obvious, connections and people in common. There was a New York Post sports article where she was like, I want people to know that this isn't just some fluke thing. Like, listen, shorty, we know it's not a fluke. It's nepotism. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be a fluke when your last name is Cashman. But you're good looking, you're well spoken, and we know you know baseball. You grew up in the Cashman household. Do your thing. I've yet to see an episode of My Number or the story of My Number. But yeah, you're 100% correct about the money that they make. I'll add to that because while the Yankees were losing over this last stretch, they have 40,000 plus. Every game 40,000 plus. They lead the American League in attendance. The only team that rivals the Yankees as far as attendance goes is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Like, the Yankees were losing games in front of 40,000 plus fans. That 12-3 drumming, that embarrassing night where the Mets came through and absolutely smacked us around, that was the biggest crowd of the year, 48,000. I was in there.
Yeah. When you look at the Yankees ticket sales, average ticket sale for a Yankees game is $146. That's on average. You times that by 42,000, bro. That is right there over $6 million the Yankees make just from ticket sales each game. You think they care about Yankee fans crying?
People pay thousands of dollars to sit in Legends. Thousands. $2,000, $3,000 tickets.
Yeah.
For
and
one
Caputo,
game.
I'm with you, Caputo. Like I
Must be
said, to
nice.
us fans, winning championships matter. But like I said, to the people that buy the corporate ad space in Yankee Stadium, making money and generating money goes a long way. And that's what the Yankees do. They print money over there at 161 in River Ave. They got a private bank or the Grand Concourse that they got a tunnel that connects Yankee Stadium to the bank. They are printing money hand over fist over there. My fault, Grace.
No, I mean, listen, they print money because of the fans. So they need to remember, and I'm not saying they don't, but they have to keep prioritizing the fans because we are the lifeblood of the Yankees franchise. It's because of the love of, like Jazz said, all the people in the Bahamas, all the people in Europe, all the people overseas, not to mention domestically, not to mention in New York City, who keep the Yankees at the top year in, year out monetarily. So we are loyal, we are passionate, we need another ship. I'm just going to say it. We need another ship with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge's legacy deserves a championship. That's all he's missing.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's on his checklist. But Keith, we're gonna let you go. Again, appreciate you taking time out this morning, joining us. We'd love to have you on later on in the future. I know you have Bernie Williams on your show not that long ago. We have him coming up this Tuesday. We're going to be talking about his tune into lung health. I know you had him on talking about that also, so I just wanted to drop that so you can say a little words for Bernie before you get out.
Yeah. I'm actually about to be with Bernie on Saturday, and I'll plug his wine event. If anybody in here lives upstate, there's the Millbrook Winery. Bernie Williams is doing a concert up there Saturday. If you go to millbrookwine.com, you can get tickets. It's 2 hours from the city, but it's dope. And yeah, Bernie is a great guy. He just had a softball game last Saturday. I missed it because I was moving. But yeah, he's always looked out for me, which is crazy because that was my first favorite player as a kid. I dressed up as him for Halloween, and yeah, he's come through my show. Yeah. Bernie's the man. That's great that he's gonna come on here. So shout out to him. Last thing I'll add to what Grace said. Grace, I gotta follow you on Twitter. I've seen you on here, but this is my first time like kind of meeting you.
It's
you know,
so nice to meet you, Keith. I've been following you for a while, and I always love your takes. So it's so nice to finally meet you.
What's your Twitter account?
I'll send it to you, Keith.
Okay,
I
just searched your name, but I'll add on. You know, as I go, I'll add on to what she said about Judge, because it's the same thing I've been saying. I'm like, Judge is in his prime. Like, don't waste it. That's why I was saying stack the deck around him. And if you look at the complexion of the American League, who's been the team that knocked the Yankees out of the ALCS 2017, 2019, 2022? The Houston Astros. They are not like that right now. Their whole rotation got hurt. They have guys that are aging that are not the same. They are not like that right now. When you look at the Orioles had to make a bunch of moves at the deadline. Okay, we'll see what they are. Who scares you? The AL Central, the Guardians? Nah. Watch that Orioles Guardians game tonight. The Mariners? No. Like, this is the year, right? This is the year that they have enough. Guys just got to perform. They can't underperform around Judge. This is the year to get Judge back to the Fall Classic and for the Yankees to win a chip. It has to happen because he's not getting any younger. Cole's not getting any younger. DJ's not getting any younger. Rizzo's not getting any younger. Stanton's not getting any younger. Like, the time is right now. This is a championship window that opened in 2017, and it's closing now. It's been 7 years. So appreciate y'all. I'm on The Fan tonight at 7 p.m. KM to AM on WFAN, 7 p.m. to 12. Of course, we'll talk Yankees, but it's a bigger football night. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Love y'all, man. I'll be back on here the next time y'all need me. Appreciate it.
Definitely. Later, Keith. So I'm gonna play this.
Here's the pitch.
That's Chisholm real quick as Keith got out of here. Shout out to my guy. One thing I gotta say, Keith is a very stand-up dude. I've met him in person a bunch of times at Yankee Stadium. He done ran down on me at the stadium. So Keith is an awesome guy. I've said it before. The way that he has embraced being the ambassador for the Yankees and the fan base is awesome. Seeing him interact with the different fans at the stadium. So shout out to my guy Keith. He says he's out KM to AM, 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. on WFAN. Make sure you guys call in to the station. I'll probably call in tonight and join in on the conversation. But Grace, what you thought about that?
No, we'll definitely have to meet up with Keith at the stadium when I'm up in New York City in September.
Yes.
However, the other day when it came out that Garrett Cole was scratched from his start, I ran into the living room with a quickness, and I told my husband, cancel the trip to New York City. We're not going. He's like, what happened? And I'm like, Garrett Cole is scratched. He's injured. Like, I'm just so overly emotional and dramatic. I know y'all are so shocked to hear me being dramatic, but
no. Being shocked, Grace? Not at all.
I was
you being dramatic? No way.
Cancel the trip. We're not going. But I'm looking forward to going up there and seeing the Yankees in person again. You know, I got a couple tickets to see them when they're coming to Texas. I'm going to get a couple tickets to see them in New York. It's going to be September baseball. I mean,
yes, Erica has to come to the stadium when you come up here. Erica, we got to set this up. We need Erica, Grace, myself, everyone else who's in the stadium. Anna Marie won tickets to a Yankee game last year. She couldn't come to the stadium. So Anna Marie, if you're trying to come to the stadium with us, let us know. I have a clip that I want to play real quick. It's Yankee related to a degree. I just felt that let's play this video. It's like 37 seconds. We could cleanse our palate, have this conversation, and then we'll put the link to the open panel, and then we'll bring people up to have a good convo. So I'm going to play this video real quick, and we will be right back.
He asked to be traded to the Yankees, and the trade was always pulled off by the Yankees. Once because of Ramiro Mendoza.
From Montreal?
Yeah, that was before your days with Boston.
Yeah. And guess what?
Different.
Guess what? When they asked me at the end of '97, I won the Cy Young. Where would you most likely go if you have a choice? New York. Oh, if it's not New York, Baltimore. If it's not.
So that was a look back at how history could have changed. If Pedro Martinez was a New York Yankee when he had his great years in Boston, just imagine how long that dynasty would have went if we would have had Pedro Martinez. And it's because we didn't want to give up Ramiro bleeping Mendoza. Shout out to Mendoza. Shout out to Mendy. He was an awesome Yankee, but I'll definitely trade Mendoza for Pedro Martinez. Yankee fans in the chat, what's your thoughts about the possibility of Pedro Martinez wanting to be a Yankee. Grace, let's get your take. And we got Erica backstage. Erica, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready to rock out, and I'll bring you up. So let me bring up Erica. Let me set this up. Go ahead, Grace.
Sad. If Pedro hadn't gone to the Red Sox, would they still be suffering under the curse of Babe Ruth?
You never know.
Because then, I hate to be a hater out here, but when it comes to the Red Sox, I kind of am a hater. Spoiler alert. Hey, Erica, what's up?
Yeah.
What's going on? I'm so mad. I missed out. I saw that the link too late. So.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I should have announced it. I'm gonna start doing that on Grace, going forward. Whenever I send you the link, just text it to Erica. All right, so Erica can join us. Because I sent it to Erica hoping that she would come on when Keith on, so Erica could ask Keith a few questions and stuff. But just know, you family here, so whenever I have opportunities like that, I'll try to get you in on them. Let's get your thoughts though on the convo we was having when it comes to the trade deadline. What Keith was talking about. Go ahead, E.
Yeah, I was saying before. Like you said, it wasn't sexy. Jazz Chisholm, the way that he came in and made an immediate impact, has made this a B+ trade deadline to me. But what we asked for is we wanted an infielder, preferably third base, and we needed bullpen arms. We technically got that. Jazz is out of position, so we'll see how that ends up in the long run. I can't believe Gleyber Torres survived another deadline. That's what's most shocking to me right now. And yeah, if you look at it in that aspect, what do the Yankees need? An infielder and bullpen arms. What did they get? An infielder and bullpen arms, and technically a utility outfielder as well. Okay, cool. Who are they? Oh man, that's when then you're just like shit. But I think they did what they had to do. I think what you guys were saying is completely valid. The price of these guys was way too much for you to 4 prospects for Tanner Scott. That's crazy, right? That was Tanner Scott 4 prospects. Yeah. The Padres have no farm for the next 5 years. I'm almost certain. They went all in, but. Is that going to take them over the top? Is Tanner Scott going to bring them over the top? Their bullpen is disgusting right now, but is that what's going to move the needle? We'll see what happens. Jack Flaherty, the back issue. We already got Rodon. He still
exactly
has a back issue.
You don't want another one.
So do we want 2 of those, right? And like you said, Grace Schmidt already has a back issue, but he's penciled in to hopefully be back in September. So yeah, it's more the addition by subtraction. We don't have Jahmai Jones anymore in that can be slotted in. Thank God. We don't have JD Davis. See you later. Who else is addition by subtraction? Oh, Caleb Ferguson. Thank you, Lord, that he's not the lefty coming out of our bullpen. So, I know again it wasn't the sexy moves, but there's a lot of addition by subtraction. Jazz Chisholm seems to be embracing everything that's coming along with having to be at third base. And hopefully Gleyber Torres turns it around. He had another blunder yesterday. He should have made that play. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
It wasn't
of course I know.
It wasn't an error, but if you looked at it, he completely whiffed on that ball to him. And he looked bad at the plate yesterday, but he's been decent offensively, so whatever. I don't know how he survived another deadline.
I want to tell y'all something for real.
Just one second, because Anthony Medina, my fault for that. I just checked it out on Twitter. I'm working with a new setup, so my fault, Anthony. But Anthony Medina just shared. He just brought us 3 coffees over there at buymeacoffee.com. He says, "Hey, Hector, here's a little something for you guys, and hope the Yankees continue." Shout out to you, Anthony Medina. Appreciate you always coming through, helping us keep the lights on. AA also with the $1.99 super chat. Keith, we lose Soto. What's the plan? Sorry about that, AA. Not sure if AA is watching from the beginning and he's behind us by a few minutes. Sorry about that, AA. Go ahead, Grace. My apologies.
I had a dream and Gleyber Torres was in it. That's how stressed out this man makes me. I'm not lying. I swear to God, I swear on the Holy Bible. Last night, I had a dream that Gleyber Torres was trying to throw me in to play second base was my position when I played softball. Okay. So he was like, "Go ahead, Grace, see if you can do better." And I was like, "Fine, I will." This was my dream. I am not. I swear on the love of my husband. I swear to God that I had that dream last night. This man has me in knots, totally twisted up. After he survived the trade deadline, I tweeted out, RIP me, whatever. And then after a couple hours, I was like, oh, Grace, let me take that down. Let me delete that tweet. Let me calm down, because now it's done. There is no ambiguity anymore. He's on the team. He's going to be on the team. So now I just have to get over it, because I love the Yankees. And like Hector said, I'm not going to stop watching. I'm not going to stop cheering. I love the Yankees. I want to win a championship with Gleyber Torres, which it hurts me to even say those words, but I'm going to have to. I got to get over it, and I got to move on, and I want Gleyber to have success. I truly do, because I want this team to win, okay? I have to let it go. I don't know how I'm going to, but I'm trying to work through some things. Clearly, my subconscious is even trying to work through some things in my dreams. But, man, I don't know how he survived, but here we are. How about now that he knows he's on the team, now that he knows he's not going to get traded, how about he lets some shit go mentally? How about he locks in and has the best last 2 months that he could have before he enters free agency? That's my hope.
Well, that's the same hope that I have. Hopefully, that's why I brought it up with Keith, because immediately after the Jazz Chisholm news was announced, because we lost the first game in Boston, we lost that first game. Then the Jazz Chisholm news was announced later on. I think it was Friday. It was announced, and players started feeling. But immediately Verdugo started hitting. Immediately Gleyber Torres started hitting, and it's like once their job was threatened, or once they felt some fire underneath their tuchuses, they started performing. And what is the best thing that breeds competition? Competition breeds competition, right? And that's what we have right now. And you see the energy that Jazz Chisholm breathes. You seen it. I said it on his last home run. Juan Soto was waiting there so he could do the step with him. And Juan Soto was doing the step. If Juan Soto is buying in, then you know everybody else in that dugout is buying in. Aaron Judge finally has a smile on his face again. We are finally seeing Aaron Judge smile. And he didn't smile in this past stretch month because it was a horrible month of June. Go ahead, E.
No, I mean, yeah, like you said, hopefully it does light a fire under these guys' butts, tuchuses. But yeah, I just lost my train of thought because I'm looking. So I'm actually working at the same time as I'm on here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And an email came in, and I was like, Gleyber Torres. I don't know, Grace, go ahead, because I'm completely blank.
Erica,
Go ahead. Jay
humble.
Boogie says it looks like I put on my suit and tie again. Good afternoon to the family. Blessing, health, and happiness. Flowers to you all. Salute. 3 capital S's. That's the Unc Jay Boogie. Jay Boogie, I love you, baby. Go ahead, Grace.
If Gleyber Torres, so help me God, makes an error that costs us a run or a game, late innings in the postseason, what am I gonna do? What are we gonna do, Eric? I need you to calm me down. Like, just give me a preemptive happy thought that I can hold on to, like Peter Pan, okay? Because this is my fear, and I need to let it go. I'm like manifesting it. I need to let that go. I need to think the best.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm so nervous about.
I know.
It's just, it's gonna happen. Just like if they keep Clay Holmes in the closer spot, there's gonna be a point that he's gonna blow a lead or a save in the playoffs. Like it's just.
So what did you think of Leiter? And let me ask you this, Erica, changing the subject a little bit from Gleyber, because that's a problem we can't solve right now. What do you think of Leiter Jr. and what do you think of Will Warren?
I think that Leiter Jr. looks a lot like Sidney Ponson. That's one thing.
I thought the same thing when he showed his face, especially with the hair in the back.
He looks good.
He's technically the swing and miss guy, right? That's what we've been needing in this bullpen. I think we need to see a little bit more from him. I think he pitched three out of the last 4 games, so he was a little bit fatigued yesterday. But I mean, I hate to go back to this line because I feel like it flopped so bad in June and July, but he looks like he's got that dog in him a little bit, right? Like when he got out of that inning yesterday, he was pumping his chest. He was pumped up. I think we got to see a little bit more of him. I think we got to see a little bit more off of a fresh arm, and see what that swing and miss looks like on a more consistent basis. Because if that's the case, yeah, you could slot him in. I mean, do you rather have Michael Tonkin as a setup or a seventh inning guy? Because he's another one that could be fighting for that position. Yeah, so I just hate that I know that as a closer, you have to get mentally used to coming in the ninth inning, but like Keith said, closer by committee, man. Just play it by the matchup or the night or who's hot. You know what I mean? Like just do it that way for now, and figure it out, because you can't keep forcing Clay Holmes. I know there's some people in the chat that were mentioning that Clay Holmes just hasn't had the defense around behind him on, I think, so 8 blown saves, and like 4 of them there's been defensive errors. But still, he just doesn't look confident in the ninth inning. That's the problem. There's just no confidence. And you could tell from like the first couple pitches, if his sinker is not sinking and it's just sitting in the top of the zone, it's just like, dude, he doesn't have it. He just misses the strike. Yeah, I don't know.
When Gleyber missed that ball that you were talking about, that I don't think they scored it as an error, but it probably should have been an error. He should have fielded that. I was like, Leiter, meet Gleyber. welcome to the party. Like that ground ball contact ain't gonna work. Okay, so but yeah, what do you think about Will Warren's start? Like his major league debut.
Medina says Game 7 of the World Series, bases loaded, 2 outs, and the Yankees are winning in the 9th inning. A ground ball is hit to Gleyber Torres. ... Game over. I'll let you finish that line. Go ahead, Grace. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I know, Medina. That's what my nightmares are about. But y'all, this is so never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. Erica, Will Warren's debut. What'd you think of him?
I don't know how long he had to prepare and know that he was gonna be starting. He was probably nervous as all hell, and I think that he had a pretty solid performance. What he did, like 5 innings. He had like 6 strikeouts. Nerves get to you, and that's a really good offense to be tested up against. So, I mean, again, I think you just got to see a little bit more starts. I think that he did what he needed to do and what we needed, and we were able to scratch across a win for in that game. So, but yeah, I wasn't able to watch that game from start to finish, so I was kind of following along on my phone. But I mean, we won, so that's good.
Yeah.
So he had.
Yeah. I thought he went deeper than that, but I thought he was good. I mean, to get thrown in against the Phillies, the team who's had the best record in baseball for months now, they've been absolutely the hottest team in baseball. Just as far as the numbers say, and as far as the eye test goes, to get thrown in that situation and perform the way he did hang one pitch that he ended up paying for, but other than that, I was very impressed with him. More than anything, his mentality on the mound was very impressive. I have a good feeling about him. I hope that they can, slot him into the rotation and help a little bit. I wonder how long he'll be up. But I was happy overall with his outing.
Mm-hmm. I want to bring up some comments real quick before we continue. Shout out to Stephen B. I know this is from earlier, but Stephen B said that interview with Cashman was great. He did say it was best stellar market ever in his career. Stellars could get anything they demanded in the trade. Give Cashman for credit for what he did for our team when it comes to not overspending. What I wanted was Cashman to not become desperate and overspend for somebody that is going to hurt himself in a few months or is going to leave in free agency, and we just shit the bag with some rental that doesn't produce for us, but our top prospects is in some other team. I know we got some fans that wanted more, but I appreciate not panicking and overpaying for someone that the prospect capital was just not worth it. Ciara says, shout out to the bestie Ciara in the chat. Ciara says, I think Cashman did good this trade deadline. We picked up bullpen pieces and Jazz is fantastic. This market was terrible. It absolutely was. This was a seller's market. John says, I wanted one thing for the trade deadline. Torres gone. So it's a C for me because at least they got his future replacement. Currently playing third base. He's an actual team player. Shout out to Tim King of the Jordans who says, Hector and the beautiful Grace, how you doing? Spinning Mantis says, glad we didn't trade Rice, Jason, Jones, Arias, or Judge Lombard. And I want to speak on that real quick because there was a trade proposal with the Tampa Bay Rays. And apparently George Lombard and other prospects were being demanded by Tampa Bay in order to get Yandy Diaz. Now, I get it. George Lombard he just came out of high school. We drafted him out of high school. He is a young kid. The kid can't even buy a beer at the bodega. All right. I get that. He uses his library card to get into the clubs. I understand that, right? But when you look at it, I get weary. The Tampa Bay Rays, they have a great organization when it comes to scouting and developing. Almost every player that the Tampa Bay Rays pick away from another organization turns into someone that potentially becomes an all-star or becomes a serviceable major league player. We've seen it with Randy Arozarena. We've seen it with Isaac Paredes. We've seen it with Yandy Diaz. Yandy Diaz was with the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians didn't believe in him. Tampa Bay did, and they turned Yandy Diaz into the player he is right now. So I'm just wary. If Tampa's calling me saying like, hey, I like that kid you got over there. Do you want to trade him? I'm hanging up the phone and I'm doing everything in my power to invest money into developing that player into the players that Tampa Bay Rays think that he could become. I know this is all hindsight 50-50, but Erica, what's your thoughts on that? And kick it over to Grace.
I will say if the Yankees were able to get Yandy Diaz at the deadline, that would have been massive. You would have had a leadoff hitter. You would have had your situation figured out at first base. I mean, he's great offensively. But like you said, man, when they loaded up, dude, they sold so much and they loaded up with guys that are going to be so annoying to the Yankees for many years to come. And if for some reason we added to that with two guys in like a Lombard and a Spencer Jones, we'd be so pissed off. But yeah, when the Rays are asking, it's almost like why are you asking for them? Like, what are you going to turn them into? You know what I'm saying? Deal with that Wander Franco situation. Like, you guys finally paid somebody. Y'all sit in that and deal with it. I don't want to give them anybody that can potentially, fill that spot for them without them having to ever worry about Wander Franco again. So yeah, I personally really wanted Yandy Diaz. I figured if you couldn't figure out third base, you had to figure out one of the corners, right? You couldn't do third base, let it be first base. Ben Rice is great, but he's not Yandy Diaz.
He's not Yandy.
He's proven. And like I said, leadoff guy. Oh man, that would have been awesome. That would have figured out all of our problems. And having Jazz in the middle of the lineup rather than being the leadoff guy, like I think that would have strengthened the offense so much. It would have changed everything. But I mean, Lombard, we're not going to see him in the majors for at least 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Probably maybe longer. But yeah, the Rays asking for him, it's just like, yo, this is going to bite us in the ass so much. But at that point, it's like, screw it. Let him be annoying in 3-4 years as long as we have our World Series this season. It's one of those things. It's like a double-edged knife. So, or double-edged sword. Is that the saying? So yeah. But I was kind of bummed out that Yandy at least wasn't traded. I wish that would have happened.
If the Tampa Bay Rays were in the National League West, I can live with trading George Lombard and Spencer Jones to them in the National League West. The fact that they're in the American League East, the fact that we share the same state when it comes to spring training in Florida, that is what makes me hesitant when it comes to training with Tampa Bay. Go ahead, Grace.
I would have traded Lombard for one reason alone, because he's so far away. And there's so much that can happen between now and then. And prospects, to me, are just lottery tickets. As good as they could be, as great as they could score out in advanced analytics and all the stuff, I get it. I hear you. And sure, he could turn out to be the next, big thing. But he could turn out to be, Jerkson Profar. He could turn out to be, a lot of other prospects who were extremely highly touted when they were 18, 19, 20, and they just don't pan out. So for me, that is probably a gamble I would have made. So everybody in the chat can be grateful that I'm not the GM. But I get why he didn't want to make the trade, but also I probably would have done it, but I'm dramatic and crazy. I'm not an ideal candidate for a GM. But yeah, I mean, y'all, the Judge's window is closing.
Yeah.
3-4 years when Lombard comes up, how old will Aaron Judge be? How tired will he be? Is he going to still keep playing center field for those next 3 years? Is he going to, how much wear and tear is going to be on his toe? How much, like the type of season that Aaron Judge is having, y'all, and this is what I want to say. We can't possibly wrap our minds around it because we watch it every day. The type of season this man is having is truly, truly, like, it's time to have the conversation. Is Aaron Judge the absolute GOAT of the New York Yankees? It is actually time to have this conversation because he is up there with Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig. I'm not joking, y'all. I'm not joking. I'm not even being hyperbolic. The only thing he's missing is what? A championship or 2 or 3, okay? This man right now is leading entire Major League Baseball in home runs, RBI, WAR, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, extra base hits, and total bases. That's not even a joke. He is first in all of these categories, and he has been for weeks. This man is balling out of control. We got to get him to the World Series. We have to, or it's an absolute travesty.
He has 39 home runs, 99 RBIs, and it's August 1st. He has 2 months left for the season. He may not get to 62, but when you look at his overall season, when it comes to on-base percentage, when it comes to batting average, when it comes to RBIs, hitting with runners in scoring position, he is having a better season this year than his 2022 MVP season. And that's even scary to say that we see a better version of Judge this year. He may not be hitting the same runs, but he is still having a better season this year than what he did back in 2022. I want to read this off from Uncle Tats, and I'll throw it over to Erica. With a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Uncle Grandpa. Prospect retraded that bit us in the ass. Jones would have been the first, and we would Jones would be the first, and we had bash Cashman for moving him. Sorry about that. I just had some weird audio noise in my head. I say one prospect we traded away that we could use. Who's that third baseman from Texas, Grace?
Josh Smith.
Josh Smith. Who we traded him for?
Joey Gallo.
And he's a lefty. He's a lefty third baseman that will be killing in Yankee Stadium. So that's a prospect that we traded away that could help us right now. Go ahead, E.
As far as the Aaron Judge thing, yeah, he just needs a ring. Once he has a ring, first ballot. I mean, he might be first ballot Hall of Fame already. I mean, he's having his second Hall of Fame season, legendary season, in his very short career. I mean, it's really not that long. He got in late in his, to the MLB. So my only thing is, yes, we need to get him a ring, but he also needs to perform in the playoffs. But it's a glaring issue. And if he performs in the playoffs, he helps himself because he is the offense. Obviously, now you have Soto and you have a couple of guys that hopefully can help us actually get over that hump, because that is always the biggest issue in the playoffs, is that we have our offense goes completely flat. But he needs to help himself in the playoffs as well. And I hope to see that this season. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But
I say all the time, like, back in the day, we were all talking about Mike Trout, right? Mike Trout this, Mike Trout that. This man's legacy in my opinion, has truly, truly been squashed because of the fact that the Angels are never competitive. He's only been to the postseason once in his entire career. He never did anything. The team didn't win anything with him, and they're not gonna. Spoiler alert, they're not gonna. This man's legacy has been totally squashed by that. We cannot. Now, Aaron Judge, obviously, he'll always have that home run record, right? That's a little bit different. Mike Trout never did that. But we got to get this man a ship. He's the Yankees captain. He's maybe the greatest of all time that we've ever had in a Yankee uniform. And don't forget, it's harder now than it was when Babe Ruth played, when Lou Gehrig played, when Mickey Mantle played. He's putting up those numbers in 2024 when the average velocity of a pitcher is 96 miles per hour or more. The movement, I mean, just come on, y'all. This is crazy. What Aaron Judge is doing is crazy. We got to get him a ship. Have to.
One thing I want to say is, and I'll ask Erica about it. I was watching this video, and it was like, like those sports science videos when they like do like the deep dive and the science in the sports or whatever. So it was someone on TikTok. They was analyzing baseball when Babe Ruth played. And do you know, according to the numbers, what was the average miles per hour for a fastball when Babe Ruth played? Erica, do you know what it was?
82.
69 miles per hour.
No way.
69 miles per hour was the average fastball when Babe Ruth played. They had some guys like Walter Johnson who threw 90 miles per hour, 95 miles per hour. They had some guys that threw heat, but the average fastball was 69 miles per hour. Also, for people out there, don't get upset at me, just be upset at history. When it comes to Babe Ruth, I think the first 3 to 5 seasons that he was a hitter in baseball, ground rule doubles were considered home runs. So there's no actual way to track on how many actual home runs cleared the fences for Babe Ruth. Don't be mad at me, be mad at history. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, they always say like Babe Ruth was hitting against plumbers and
guys
like that. You know?
Yeah.
But hey, listen, you can't. Yeah, like you said, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? It's evolved into something that is incredible. I mean, if you don't throw more than 96 miles an hour or 96 mile an hour fastball, you're useless basically unless you have perfect command. So it is what it is. I mean, do we think Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter, power hitter, all around hitter that we've seen in the post steroid era?
Yeah.
In the post-steroid era, I would have to say, yeah. And in my lifetime, the purest power hitter that I've seen in my lifetime, I've been watching baseball since the late 90s and stuff like that. I would have to say is Manny Ramirez. I wasn't old enough to watch Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire and actually understand baseball like I did in 2004 and 2005. So for me, it would have to be it would have to be Manny Ramirez. Also, we got over 130 people in the building. If you guys can, please smack that like button for the y'alls. Okay, y'all? Smack the like button for the y'alls. We got over 60 people watching us on YouTube. We're sitting on 48 likes, so smack that like button. Go ahead.
Texas, y'all.
Texas, y'all.
now all y'all are thinking, how many shirts does she have with the word y'all on it?
Yeah, no, we're going to keep the count. We're going to keep the count. That's number one. So we're going to keep the count for the next one. This is one topic that I have, and we'll get ready to wrap things up. This is the last topic we're going to go through. Carlos Rodon, right? When you look at Carlos Rodon's season, he has had an up and down, Mr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde season. He's 11-7 on the season with a 4.34 ERA. My guy Yankee Vision on Twitter, he put this out. Carlos Rodon has been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. Outside of his 5 brutal game stretch from June 15th all the way to July 9th, he gave up 27 runs and 23 innings in those 5 games. You remove those 5 games and 17 starts, Carlos Rodon has pitched to an ERA of 2.87 ERA. He was averaging 10 strikeouts per 9 innings and 97 innings. Granted, you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics to justify that stance, but if you remove those 5 horrible starts from Carlos Rodon in the middle of July when you could tell his back was bothering him, he is having a solid season or a decent season. Grace, what's your thoughts on that? And toss it over to Erica. Folks in the chat, let us know, Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, which version of Carlos Rodon is real?
I want to say, I'm gonna throw a change up for once in my life.
There you go.
MJ would approve. He started throwing more change ups. Imagine that. Imagine that. They have been giving him the information and he's been listening. He's been making the change. Okay, everybody. Hey, Shout out to Michael Jackson. Everybody go listen to Man in the Mirror and think about Carlos Rodon. But he has been throwing less fastballs and more changeups, and it's been working. We love to see it. And the more he does it, the more confidence he will build with it going forward. It is a fairly new pitch mix for him this year, and he started to go away from it when he felt what I surmise as being a little bit uncomfortable. Now he's been forced to get out of his comfort zone, start throwing that again, and mixing those a lot more, and he's been winning. So he'll be building confidence, and going forward, I hope he will stay on this path. Okay, so that's my thoughts about it.
Yeah, E, what's your thoughts on it? Also, folks in the chat, let us know. Ronnie Green's like, damn, Grace. Shout out to Ronnie Green in the chat. Salute, salute, salute. Alex says, we're about to make Grace Y'all merch. Absolutely. We are about to make the Grace Y'all merch. So just be on the lookout. The Y'all merch will be coming soon. Shout out to Grace Monroe and the Y'alls. Go ahead, Erica.
Yeah, I was going to say, so he obviously looks really good. I think, like Grace said, he's believing in the breaking ball. I think he's starting to believe what they have set out for him. If you really looked at those 5 outings, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but a lot of the times it was the first inning woes, and then he settles in and he looks good. So maybe he's figuring it out a little bit earlier. He does seem like a very stubborn dude. So if something's not working, he's just, I mean, how many times he tells Boone to turn around? You know, how many times does he look frustrated if a cutter doesn't work? You know, he's just like almost throws his hands in there like, yo, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, this isn't my game. But I think he's starting to see like, yo, that changeup does help. And then he follows it up with fastballs that are up in the 90s, man. He threw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball a couple of times. He was sitting around 97. So, yeah, I hope to see that this continues. Again, it really comes down to those losses where a lot of it was in the first inning that he just couldn't get out of it. But he does have the mental fortitude to at least get us some length in those games and kind of settle in. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this August is a good time for the Yankees because they don't play many tough teams like they did in June and July.
Shout out to my guy Austin Cruz in the chat who's trying to apply for to be the merch designer for Morning Brew Sports. Austin Cruz says, y'all and Yankees pinstripes are in front of the Yankees name on jacket. Sounds awesome. Shout out to my guy Austin Cruz, and like always, make sure you guys support the family over there at the BX Sports Jedi Network. They put out amazing work when it comes to covering the Yankees, covering the Knicks, and Austin does a great job with his MMA conversation. So shout out to my guy Austin Cruz over there. Big Time Jerry is still in the building. Shout out to Big Time Jerry. Shout out to Truth Always as well. And of course, Anna Marie says, I don't trust Rodon yet at all. And I'm still a little bit 50-50. And that's fair that Anna Marie doesn't trust Carlos Rodon yet, right? And she put yet there for a reason. And I feel the same way. I like what I've seen from his last 3 starts. I like the changeup. That changeup looks filthy. He is getting some real good swings and misses. And I think for Rodon, the more he throws his changeup, the more comfortable he would be with his changeup, the more confidence he would have in that changeup. And if he's in a tricky spot, if he's in a tough situation, runners in scoring position, he'll be more willing to go to that changeup instead of his fastball. If he doesn't have confidence in his changeup, and if it has confidence that he could throw it for a strike, he's going to go back to what he knows, and he's going to revert to what he trusts. And what he trusts for this season has been the fastball. So let's see him build his confidence on that changeup. Let's go to see how what's the percentage in the next start. I think they had it in the last start. He's thrown it now over his last few starts 15% of the time, and before that he was only throwing it like 1 or 2% of the time. So hopefully he's building off the confidence, and hopefully we see some great things to come from Carlos Rodon. I think that's fair to give him that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and he's important to this starting rotation in the playoffs. He has to be on in the playoffs because Stroman and Cortez are not going to get starts in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. And we don't know what Schmidt's going to be like when he comes back. So Rodon is the X factor of this pitching rotation. So I really hope that he does stay consistent. I'm sure he will have a bad outing again, but I hope to just, like you said, he sticks with that changeup and sees that it's working, man. That's all.
Yeah, I got some stuff that I got to plug real quick before we get out of here. If anybody is in the tri-state area, if you're in New York City, Make sure you guys go out this Saturday and Sunday. Hoops in the Sun. It's in Orchard Beach in the Bronx. Shout out to Randy and Joe's Cruz. The Cruz brothers, they do an amazing basketball tournament. I was there this past weekend. The New York Knicks pulled up. John Starks, Larry Johnson was there. It was a great community event, giving back to the community, and they're going to be doing the same thing with the New York Knicks this weekend. So it's this Saturday and this Sunday, Orchard Beach in the Bronx. It's free to show up. Like I said, it's a basketball tournament that starts 11 o'clock in the morning. It goes to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a free event. It's awesome for the city. I had a great time there. So shout out to Hoops in the Sun. Shout out to Joe and Randy Cruz, the Cruz brothers. They're doing amazing work, and I'm glad that they invite me to be a part of it so I can help cover it. Alex, she just put the Hoops in the Sun Instagram in the chat right there. So if you guys go on Instagram, look up Hoops in the Sun, you get all the information when it comes to that. Rodney, I miss you too, baby. I miss you, man. Ronnie, you got to come back to the city, bro. You got to come back to the city. Also, August 5th, like I said, Woodbridge Bar and Grill and Woodbridge Brewing Company in Woodbridge, New Jersey. Yankee Bash, like I said, Oswaldo Cabrera is going to be there. Jose Trevino, Clark Smith is going to be there. Tommy Canley. Make sure you guys show up. Also, August 28th, Woodbridge is having Clay Holmes. He's going to be in the building also. August 16th,
Erica,
17th through 18th. August 16th, 17th to 18th is Fanatic Fest at the Jacob Javits Center. A lot of great former Yankees are going to be there. Derek Jeter is going to be there. Alex Rodriguez is going to be there. David Ortiz, Carmelo Anthony, I think CC Sabathia as well. It's going to be a lot of former great Yankees. Make sure you guys go there. August 4th, also at Woodbridge, El Duque will be in the building. So this Sunday, if you guys are free, El Duque will be in the building at Woodbridge. I think that's it. I think I'm done with the plugs. I don't got no more plugs. No more ad revenues is done right now. Grace, final words, and we'll toss it over to Erica for final words, and we'll get out of here.
Final words is I'm ready to face the Blue Jays, depleted as they are and down on their luck as they are. I'm ready for Jazz Chisholm to be in pinstripes, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to be back in the Bronx. Let's go. It is game time. It is go time. It's the stretch. Let's do it.
Yes. Erica, final words.
5-game win streak. It's been a while. 20 games over 500. I'm glad that we're back in the 20s. Stanton's back.
Yeah.
Jazz Chisholm's here. Volpe's starting to look good again, batting over 300 since the break. Verdugo seems to be hitting. We got a depleted Toronto team that we could build on. You got no more Kikuchi that's going to shut us out. Get to Gaussman early. Berrios is washed. I mean, all signs are pointing upwards. So, I mean, I hope they ride this wave and, they at least win the series. So, let's go.
Yeah, ride the wave. Keep the winning coming. Again, shout out to our special guest, Keith McPherson, who joined us. Make sure you guys keep tuning in. Like he said, he can't reveal any info, but be on the lookout. There's a John Sterling appearance that will be happening sooner rather than later. And until next time, guys, always drink some water, say something positive about yourself. Make sure you tune in this Tuesday coming up. We got a special guest, Bernie Williams. It will be fantastic. Erica, if you're free at that time, you're more than welcome to come up. It's from 12:15 to 1. You just message me. You let me know. I'll send you the link.
The stream.
I'll let you know. All right. Again, appreciate everybody in the chat. Love you guys. And until next time, deuces.